And all of a sudden, the best of 7 is a best of 5. Welcome to another episode of Cup Check. The Washington Capitals win 3-2 over the Vegas Golden Knights and tie the 2018 Stanley Cup Final at 1 game apiece. Hey, you know, Vegas loses sometimes. Vegas has done so much winning this season, you'd think it was written into the expansion rules. See, I told you it was rigged. They're just a hockey team and they can lose like anybody else. Game 1 was neck and neck. Vegas won. Game 2 was neck and neck. Washington won. We got ourselves a series. This is what every hockey fan should want. It's excellent. And have these two teams taught us nothing? Expect the unexpected. Oh, Kuznetsov's out. The Caps are done. You thought? Let's talk about the game. Washington didn't have the greatest start in Game 1 against Vegas, and I thought they had a better one in this one, but it did not prevent them from getting scored on first. Vegas bursting into the zone. Lucas Spiza just flips the puck up. Dmitry Orlov just goes, this should be easy. But James Neal's on some Star Wars. And oh, the force is strong with this one. Snipes on Braden Holtby. 1-0 VGK. I go in and out. I don't know what's more frustrating, when your team makes a mistake or when the other team just owns you. I don't even think I would count what Dmitry Orlov did there as a mistake. 9 times out of 10 he gets that puck. James Neal with an incredibly talented play to get the puck down and an incredible elite shot past Braden Holtby. What's Holtby gonna do? Whenever the goalie's got a clear look at the puck, we expect them to stop it, but that's not giving the shooter enough credit. Pretty much any shooter in the NHL's got a chance to score when they're all alone. James Neal? Come on. But in the NHL, especially this season, how often is a 1-0 lead safe? Not often. So, I said this in Vegas' series against the Sharks, I said it in Vegas' series against the Jets, and I said it before their series against the Caps. Teams have not been hard enough or chippy enough on Vegas. There's a Tom Wilson hit on Jonathan Marchessault from Game 1. I'm not even talking about that stuff. One of the things the Bruins have done so well against the Leafs, so well against a lot of teams in recent years, is dragging them into nonsense. After the whistle garbage that you basically just come to expect with playoff hockey. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying it is a thing. Nearing the end of the first, TJ Oshie and Derek Engelland, they get into a little bit of nonsense. You off, you off. I watched Game 2 of Vegas' series against the Sharks, which, by the way, the Sharks won in overtime, after getting slaughtered 7-0 in the first one. In that game, San Jose suckered Vegas into 4 coincidental minors. The first 2 did not bear fruit. The second 2 did, as the Sharks scored on both of them. And now here we are, Caps Vegas, 4-on-4 in Vegas' zone. Lars Eller wins a faceoff. Burakovsky with a desperation pass over to Kempny while falling down. Kempny's got that side of the ice dead to rights. Vegas is scrambling over to make up for it, and so is Fleury. If he can make the pass, it's over. Guess what? One of the things that defined Game 1 was Lars Eller missing with a wide open net. He does not miss this time. Bang! And it's tied 1-1 heading into the second, which is super important because we have yet another controversial hit to talk about. Braden McNabb flying into Evgeny Kuznetsov, rocking him, and Kuznetsov does not return to the game. Similar to the Wilson hit from Game 1 in that it was kind of a funny, how do we punish this hit? He's leaving his skates, there's definitely a flying elbow, but because of the lack of head contact, we don't make as big of a deal out of it. We just go, ah. And it's amazing how names change perception. Because it was Tom Wilson who threw the hit in Game 1, we were all like, oh! But Braden McNabb, for some reason, doesn't quite have that reputation yet, so it was barely talked about. We talked about the lack of Kuznetsov in this game, but we didn't talk about how it got to be that way. And Braden McNabb, if he doesn't have a reputation for lighting dudes up like that, he probably should. I was at the 2011 Memorial Cup in Mississauga when McNabb basically ruined Joey Hishin, and I went back and YouTubed it just to look and see if it looked similar. And sure enough, dude, get that down. And even in the NHL, he's built a bit of a reputation for wrecking guys. I'm not saying every hit he lays is dirty, but like Tom Wilson, a lot of it is borderline. At the time I'm shooting this, we don't quite know the extent of Kuznetsov's injury. I saw a few people talking about, oh, it looked like he broke his wrist. I don't know if he broke it, but one thing I've done before is I jammed my wrist going this way, and while it wasn't broken, it hurt a lot. And building the strength back up in it, getting it to not click anymore, takes a while. And if it is deemed that it's not broken and Kuznetsov can play through it, the Caps have an interesting decision to make. 2015 Stanley Cup Final, Lightning versus Blackhawks. Tyler Johnson was a monster in those playoffs, but relatively quiet in the Cup Final. Turns out he had a broken wrist. Like, alright, Tyler Johnson is great, but is he so great that he's better than a guy on your farm team, even with a broken wrist? Kuznetsov is great. You take away one of his wrists, alright, what's the trade-off? Maybe the series goes 7 and he has a Mighty Ducks moment. I woke up this morning, niet been at all. Speaking of coach, Barry Trotz did an excellent job of making do. And by making do, I mean making Lars Eller do more. Depth, It's a wonderful thing. About 5 minutes into the second period, Washington gets a power play. Alex Tuck got a cross-checking call on John Carlson. Cross-checking, especially in the playoffs, is one of those calls that you're never going to be right on. Because even when you are right and it is cross-checking, well, you didn't call the other 90 in the game. It's hockey, and even worse, it's playoff hockey. There's a cross-check every 5 seconds. Doesn't matter, power play. Lars Eller posted on one of the posts with the privilege of trying to feed Alex Ovechkin a pass. I know that, you know that, the Vegas Golden Knights know that, everyone in the hockey world knows that, no one can prevent it. Eller gets a puck, they send it to Ovechkin, scores. Alex Ovechkin scores a goal that he scored so many times he should be able to sue Steven Stamkos for copyright. It's a 2-1 Capitals lead. It's funny, with the Capitals power play and Ovechkin being in the Ovechkin spot, we always give Ovechkin the praise, and he definitely deserves it. But what the Capitals have been able to do for over a decade, different personnel, different coaches even, is getting the other team to forget momentarily that Alex Ovechkin exists. They show it on the replay. Derek Engelland is down and he's ready to cut off the pass. The Capitals reset, the path is opened like 4 seconds later, and they're able to get it to Ovechkin, no problem. That had to feel amazing for Ovechkin. I know he wants to win, he always wants to win, but the seeds were being planted for Ovechkin criticism. He was kind of quiet in game 1, didn't have a very good game 1. Ovechkin a little silent in game 1. And all the playoff criticism people haven't been able to say about him yet because the Capitals keep winning was starting to creep in. Oh, he can't get it done, they can't do it with Ovechkin. Ovechkin just doesn't have the killer instinct, and now he's in the Stanley Cup final, but if they lose the Stanley Cup final, you know they're gonna say it anyway. Gets a goal. Now, moving forward, I said in game 1 that the Capitals were able to get Vegas to break down in their own end, getting them to look uncharacteristically sloppy. Well, 4 minutes after the Caps make it 2-1, I want you to tell me what the hell Vegas is doing. When the Capitals cross the blue line, it's only a 2-on-3. When it's evened up 4-on-4, Burakovsky and Orpik especially are basically completely ignored. Cody Eakin's got eyes on Orpik, but by the time he sees him, Orpik's able to get a shot off in traffic. Off a pretty nice pass from Eller, too. Orpik sets up the shot. Well, I mean, he's not gonna score. It's Brooks. Oh my goodness! Brooks Orpik scores to put the Capitals up 3-1? Okay, the last time Brooks Orpik scored a goal, the Vegas Golden Knights did not exist. There's a reason they don't call him Brooks Scorepick. This was his 14th season of at least 40 NHL games or more, and he registered 0 goals in 5 of them. His NHL career high is 3. His AHL career high is 4. In 119 games at Boston College, he had 2. But sometimes the perfect storm arises. Washington's got Vegas confused. They're scrambling all over the place. There's a screen in front. Get a little bit of help from a deflection. There's your goal. Brooks Orpik scores his first playoff goal since 2014 with the Penguins. Get a load of this gem from Emily Kaplan. Alex Ovechkin scored 116 goals between Brooks Orpik goals. And in this one, he's got a shot at the game winner. Now, what always amazes me about the NHL level, the highest level of hockey you can play, these are the best hockey players in the world, is how often they let their tempers get the better of them. Think of the discipline, the hours of dedication you need to dedicate just to make one game in the NHL. Now think of how dedicated you need to be just to be a player like TJ Oshie. Well, Colin Miller drills TJ Oshie into the boards. Didn't like that. And no call. That's one of those hits that might get called in the regular season, but not in the playoffs. Oshie gets right back up, drills Colin Miller. That's a penalty. It's amazing how often we look at hits like Miller's on Oshie and we go, oh, the refs missed that. They didn't miss it. They just didn't think it deserved a call. But best believe when Oshie gets back up, they're looking for the retaliation. In that case, Oshie's just making the ref's job too easy, and Vegas gets a power play. And it's always the dumb penalties that make you pay. Shea Theodore seeing eye shot beats Braden Holtby. Vegas back within 1. And it's a late goal heading into the third. You're giving Vegas a chance to get back into the game. They're feeling good about themselves. Yeah, they got into a deficit, but they got a goal back. Ryan Reeves punched Tom Wilson in the face, so they're feeling pretty good about that too. Also a pretty dumb thing that got called, but whatever. But it's okay. Washington learned a valuable lesson, and they're not going to give Vegas a chance to get on the power play in the third. Oh, Tom Wilson cream Braden McNabb. Oh, Lars Eller hook Colin Miller. And just like that, it's a 5-on-3. And that's one of those moments that can define a series. Vegas scores on that 5-on-3. First of all, they tie the game up. Second of all, they feel like they can come back from anything. And third of all, they can make it a 2-0 series lead. But Washington holds the fort. They came out of the gate in the third looking like they were going to continue to attack, but that was not the trend. Vegas outshooting Washington 15-6 in the third. And with exactly 2 minutes left, the unbelievable. Shea Theodore just benign dumping. Off the glass, ridiculous bounce in front, pretty much goes through the crease. Cody Eakin, Alex Tuck. Oh, how typical. Oh, how delightfully Vegas. They get a crazy bounce and then an amazing goal comes to tie the game up. The NHL hasn't rigged it for Vegas. God has rigged it for Vegas. But Braden Holtby with nothing but a hope and a prayer. The Hulk Beast puts the paddle down and sports talk. My basement is FUBAR. Every single hockey thing I own is in a box right now, and this was in the bottom box on the bottom of that box. I wrecked my back for this bit, and if I tried to do what Braden Holtby just did, I'd probably be toast, but nope, he's a professional athlete, and the Washington Capitals tie the Stanley Cup Final 1-1. Questions. I'm gonna read this the way it's written. How about Ryan Reaves punching Tom Wilson in the face? Well, while a lot of fans probably got a lot of pleasure out of that, Tom Wilson in those situations is like a pig in poo. He lives for the scenarios. I don't think he's actually afraid of anyone, even Ryan Reaves. And if the price of putting his team on the power play is getting punched in the face, he'll love a punch in the face. This one's very interesting. Will Tom Wilson become the new Brad Marchand in the next couple of seasons? Seems to have that potential / play with that fire. See, this is why I think Brad Marchand does himself a disservice when he gets up to shenanigans. Brad Marchand is an elite player in this league. Tom Wilson is decent, but probably lucky to be a first liner. The only comparable is they're decent players with a reputation for being dirty, but like Tom Wilson is pretty good, whereas Brad Marchand is consistently in like the scoring title conversation. You can definitely be tough, you can definitely be nuisance, you can even be a little dirty without being Brad Marchand. But I don't really think Tom Wilson cares what you call him as long as you can call him Alex Ovechkin's line mate. And lastly, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck? My team gave up Riley Smith, Marchessault, and Gallant and hasn't won a playoff round in 22 years. Kill me. As a Leafs fan, it's kind of difficult to feel sympathy for anyone, but Brian, I feel sympathy for you. Panthers fans, I feel sympathy for you. Because lost in how easy Vegas' success has made it to goof on the Panthers is the Panthers were good this season, and their point total this season would have comfortably got them into the playoffs last season. But if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, they would have been served on the plane that Gerard Gallant got on after getting out of that cab. And on that note, what'd you think? What did I miss? You couldn't possibly talk about everything. Last game I forgot to talk about the Reaves cross-check in front, my bad. But many of you pointed that out, so good. Keep doing that, and keep watching, please. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video, click subscribe if you really liked it, tell all your friends that we got a best of 5 series, folks. Oh, my back.